Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, guys? Hope it's having a fantastic day today. So I want to go over some news for the Philadelphia Eagles. A few things I definitely want to go over from a report from the other day. And some other news on some competition going forward. Now with the undrafted free agents that are added to this roster for training camp, mini camp, preseason, all that great stuff. Want to go over all of that with you guys. So let's get straight into it. Yo, 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 what is going on, guys? Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. I hope everyone's enjoying their week, start of a work week, and hopefully everybody had a really good time this weekend, this past draft weekend, and what the Eagles have done between the draft, the undrafted free agents. Now I want to get into some of the, obviously, other news that maybe an extension could be popping up for the newly acquired, DeAndre Swift. There has been news, this from Bleacher Report came out the other day, that they're, the Eagles are not against giving DeAndre Swift a contract extension. Now, some news has resurfaced on how the Eagles acquired him and what was the case. So, obviously with, DeAndre Swift missing 3 games last year, missed 3 games last year, and a lot of talk was that he was on the way out. So even during the first few days of free agency, there was a lot of rumors coming out of the lines that Swift was going to be gone, but he was still there. So obviously after getting David Montgomery and Jamal Williams really taking snaps away from Swift last year, Jamal Williams getting that new contract, and then when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and how excited they were in that war room, I mean, watch the video. They were really excited. The news has come out and a lot of quotes came out that, Swift was pretty much done. Swift thinks of himself as a focal point. That's what he told the Lions when they were going to trade him. So they decided to trade him. Now, it looks like the Eagles and the Miami Dolphins were actually 2 teams that really were calling about Swift's services. I think in respect to the player, the Lions were pretty much like, hey, where would you like to go? These quote-unquote teams are interested in you. Where would you like to go? And he decided to really come home. So he did arrive in Philadelphia today. I haven't seen any press conferences yet. Probably by the time you see this, maybe there will be. But really glad to have him. So I'm not thinking that the Eagles are going to give him an extension right now or even middle of the year. I think this extension is more of a end of the year type deal to see if he stays healthy. And, I'm not saying it's going to be a mega multi-year crazy deal. Maybe it's a 2-year deal, maybe add another year or 2 or just another year with the Philadelphia Eagles, because it's not like you're getting an old running back here. You're getting a guy that's 24 years old. This guy has elite vision, great in open space. I mean, trust me, Swift did a good number on us in the first week last year of the season. We know what DeAndre Swift could do. But he's coming back home. Really happy for him. And that was pretty much the news behind the scenes of how this trade really went down. So obviously he picked the team he wanted to go to, who he wanted to come back home. And, the Lions made it work with the Eagles. And a 25 4th-round pick is literally, you got him for nothing. I mean, you got him for nothing. And he's, what is he, $1.5 million, $2 million, not even that, against the cap this year. I mean, your running backs combined don't even equal to $6 million in cap space against the cap. It's kind of crazy with this running back core right now. So obviously with Swift, he's more of a what if, and just like just like Rashad Penny's a big what if because he was hurt. Obviously, Swift is a little bit more less injury prone than Penny, and obviously Swift missed a lot less time. He only missed 3 games, and Rashad Penny, only played 5 games last year. But distribution of the football with the run game this year with Jalen Hurts, it's gonna be pretty interesting. And to keep all these guys healthy, just distribute the ball very well. I think with this signing of Swift now, I think he is actually the starting running back to this team. Before I thought Penny was. But I think Swift is going to be the starting running back. I think he gets first carries. I think he'll be the focal point. I think that's where the Eagles were kind of getting him here for that reason. But obviously, they already said they didn't want to put too much on his plate. But I'm telling you right now, once they see how much of a factor he's going to be, which they know he's going to be, they will give him more snaps. And I think in time they will. As much as they like to use Gainwell. You have a receiving back as well. You have a dual threat in a lot of ways in Swift. Just his cutbacks, his making guys miss, his elite vision, getting to the second level and tearing it up, man. It's with this offensive line and what these running backs can do. Like I said, the Eagles went another route. The Eagles had a plan B, and this was it. Getting DeAndre Swift. This was going on for like 2 days. Behind the scenes that we never even knew of. This trade going on. But I figured they would have, people were telling me we don't need another running back, but I knew that they were going to get another running back. I knew that running back core, as much as they say it was enough, not like we needed a running back. They know they needed another body in there. Okay. And it was another guy that's a little injury prone. I have no issue with it because, like I said, distribution with the football and using all these guys wisely, you can have one of the most dangerous running back cores in the league this year. So very happy for Swift. Very happy he picked the Eagles. I think, the respect from that front office, he was able to pick where he wanted to go. And obviously this team coming off a Super Bowl and the monster moves they have made this offseason between retaining players, the draft, and these undrafted free agents, it's really amazing. So really happy for him. And that was the background news. I'll put the link for that, in the description below because the news was actually coming out from, Bleacher Report on there. So I'll put that in the description below so you guys could check it out yourselves. Secondly, really the offensive line. Now, Nick Sirianni was interesting because after the second night of the draft, I think the second night press conferences, he did talk about the guard position. He talked about that this right guard position seems to be wide open. He didn't even talk about Cam Jurgens. Not like he didn't even talk about Cam Jurgens as if Cam Jurgens wasn't even playing right guard this year. Okay, I think Tyler Steen, the left tackle from Alabama, I think he's going to start at right guard. I think there's a big possible probability he will start. I think there will be a competition at right guard between Cam Jurgens and Tyler Steen unless they just want a redshirt Cam Jurgens for another year, and then you'll only have 2 years. If Kelsey retires in 24, then I guess you'll only have 2 years for Cam Jurgens to get his stuff together. I don't know. He's a second-round pick, and he's still still redshirting this year. So I figured, maybe that was the case. Maybe this was more of a best player available and need when Tyler Steen was on the board, and they went and got him in the third round. So I don't know. Tyler Steen, big man. Over 700, what was it, 760, 770, the number might not be right, but it's close. Over 760, over 770 snaps, whatever the case may be, only giving up, 2-3 sacks? I think it was only 2 sacks and over 760 snaps. It's crazy. It's crazy. That's why I didn't think they were going to overreach for an offensive lineman. But now you have Driscoll that plays right guard, right tackle. Now you have Tyler Steen that comes in that plays left tackle, right tackle, and has the physicality traits to play right guard. I think Tyler Steen might be your future right tackle. I think he will be. Once Lane Johnson retires in a couple years, I think this will be your guy at right tackle in the future. So, obviously, you're drafted in the third round, not because you're perfect, because obviously there's a weakness to him. It might be a run blocking capability with him, which isn't that much. I think Jeff Stoutland's going to do a really good job with him. He was Bryce Young's blindside tackle, for the past few years. So, did a really good job at Alabama and a really good player. So, you have guys that you even brought in as undrafted free agents in Trevor Reed that's, 6'5", 307, 628 total snaps, only giving up 3 sacks. I think you got 2 guys really right now that could play multiple positions, which is great. So you never know what could happen here, but maybe you'll have a hole at guard, in 2 years or whatnot, depending on what happens with Kelsey in the next year, if he retires or not, we'll see. But I think the offensive line, I think Tyler Steen has got a job already. I think he will be a starter for the Eagles, obviously get through the offseason program with minicamp, rookie minicamp, training camp, joint practices, preseason, all that great stuff. Because Nick never even talked about Cam Jurgens at all. Like he said, the right guard spot, people are going to, there's going to be big competition for the spot. And didn't even talk about Cam Jurgens or nothing. Like they left his name out like he wasn't even going to be the guy that's going to at least compete for that position. That's their plan with him. Maybe they just strictly want to keep him behind Jason Kelsey for the year and then maybe put him as an extra lineman for red zone like they kind of did this past year, last year in 22. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe Tyler Steen is actually like, maybe this is going to be the guy at right guard. Maybe, that's what they make it sound like right now. I could be wrong, but when I hear them say certain words and if they don't even mention Cam Jurgens' name, it's showing that they want somebody new at that position. And Tyler Steen is a dog, and he's very physical and has the physical capability to play guard. I don't think has ever played guard, but I think with a little bit of finesse and with Jeff Stoutland kind of molding offensive linemen the way they want him to be. Thank God Jeff Stoutland's in this room, guys. We have to be very thankful he signed a multi-year extension. So that's the news for the right guard position, which, from the second day of the draft, I was kind of like, interesting enough. I think there's more than a competition here. I think they already know that Tyler Steen is going to do really well, and I think he might be your starter at right guard. So this will be very, very interesting. Now, obviously, Quez Watkins, we talked about the number 3 wide receiver spot. You had Quez Watkins, a down year last year, had some crucial drops, crucial mistakes last year. And, when Jalen Hurts is passing to him, not paying attention, there were times where the ball was perfect towards him and didn't even know it was coming. As the number 3 receiver, you always have to be ready on the field. You signed Zacchaeus from the Falcons, a pure slot guy, a burner, which would give Quez really good competition. Quez heard of that news and said, I'm going to make y'all eat your words for saying that somebody's going to beat me out of my position. But, realistically, I'm glad they brought in more receivers. I don't care if it's a possession guy. I don't care what it is, okay? Between getting guys like, Jaden Hasselwood that played with Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma. I love when they get players that played with Jalen Hurts. That's the best thing. Because the chemistry could already be there. Obviously with Jason, Hasselwood, it's more of his speed, not really great speed, reliable hands, good pinpoint of the ball. And then obviously when the Eagles paid Joseph Nada, $230,000, from Clemson, played at Clemson for 4 years, is more of a possessional receiver, possession receiver, 50-50 ball catcher, which is great and good in the open space, can get yak yards, can break tackles. This guy, his tape is good. No wonder the Eagles paid him a good amount of money to be here, which is awesome. So Quez Watkins, can feel, I'm glad that Quez Watkins put out that tweet that he was going to make all of us eat our words. At least he's fighting back, telling us no one's taking my job. But I'm glad there's going to be a fierce competition. I mean, yeah, Joseph Nado wouldn't start at number 3 receiver because he's not a burner and, he wouldn't be good in the slot and he's a big receiver, but the guy's got speed, man. If he shows up and starts just making some noise, who knows at this point? I think at the end of the day, when you have Devontae Smith, you have A.J. Brown, you have Quez Watkins, Nada, Hasselwood, you got to keep Covey on the roster. I think they'll keep about 6 receivers this year. I think 6 is the fair number. So at the end of the day, they could keep Hasselwood and they could keep Joseph Nada. Now, I don't know if Greg Ward's still on the roster. I don't know if they have a plan for him. I mean, obviously, he's more of a favorite in the Doug Peterson era than he is Nick. Nick really devalues him a lot. So I think it's time to bring in some fresh meat, new receivers, and I think both of the I think Hasselwood and Nada could actually make this roster, while being in competition and giving opportunities. Now, in another sense, I think with Quez Watkins, I think Quez and Zacchaeus, I think both of them can actually get playing time. I think they can actually use Zacchaeus on screen passes and do some things that I'd rather not use Quez on. Even though I do miss, them stretching out the field with Quez a lot, which they did earlier in the year, and they kind of strayed away from it. Then Quez apparently had the grade 2 shoulder sprain, which was interesting. So to see some of these guys bring in more receivers and bigger receivers in competition, I really actually did like. I did like the guys that they did bring in here. So I'm not saying Quez is going to lose his job, but I think when you have better depth behind your starters, you can use other guys. Like, trust me, like you could put in a Zacchaeus on, a small slant pass to get some yards. Use Zacchaeus in open space, and the guy could burn guys. I mean, the guy is a deep threat as well, so it's great. But using Hasselwood and using Nada, even those guys too, even Nada in general, because Nada's just a freak athlete at his size at 6'1", 6'2", 220, 230. I don't know what it was. I forgot. Just insane, just amazing. So really liked some of the competition they brought in at that position. Yeah, 6'3", 224. I mean, that's just nuts. You know what I mean? And it has some speed to him. I watched some tape, and I was like, whoa. I was like, how did this guy not get drafted in the late rounds? I don't know. I don't know what the downside of him was and why he didn't get drafted unless there's injuries or something I don't know about. But it's really, the wide receiver room is very exciting. The number 3 wide receiver spot is exciting because you have so much attention between Goddard, Hurts, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown. You plug in a guy in the slot, whether it's Zacchaeus or Quez, they're gonna thrive from it. Zacchaeus is gonna thrive from it. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what they do at this receiver spot, see how the competition goes. And I don't think anyone's losing their job. I don't think Quez is gonna lose his job. I think they really do like Quez, but obviously between that injury and then putting him in that Super Bowl, giving him like one of the biggest catches of the day, of that night, which was a drop, it's just kind of, I question it sometimes why they put him in the most when he wasn't playing consistent games because he was hurt, and then they just throw him in the Super Bowl on this biggest catch that he's supposed to make and he can't bring it down. Yeah, it bothers me a little bit there. At least they have, they gave him confidence, but if he can't make the catch, it's been a problem. Quez was a problem last year. Liked how they used him beginning of the year, had the, obviously used more double tight end sets when Quez was out. They used more of Zach Pascal. Obviously, Zach Pascal not coming back is great because I think this receiver core is going to be a lot better than it was last year. Because think about it. Right behind our starting wide receivers between Quez, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all you had was Zach Pascal, Britton Covey, Devin Allen, Greg Ward. There really wasn't much there. Zach Pascal was good. He was reliable vet, but no, not really. His break of his routes were really good. He got open. He had reliable hands, but wasn't a burner, wasn't, a pure slot guy. But he was used more for blocking for the Philadelphia Eagles. He did a lot of the dirty work before he, got his chances later on in the season where they started to give him the ball a little bit, whether it was one catch a game or whatever. They started to garner more trust with Zach Pascal, which he was great. So I didn't mind him at all, but I think you got a better group here between the undrafted free agents coming in and Zacchaeus, and Quez Watkins being your starter, man, for that number 3 spot. So it's going to be very interesting at that position going forward. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. We talked about, obviously, DeAndre Swift, what went down in that trade and him coming home. It was his decision. It was between Miami and the Eagles, and why Swift wants to be the focal point. And he's like, if I'm not the focal point, I'm not staying in Detroit. Went over Tyler Steen. Is Cam Jurgens even involved at right guard? We'll have to see during training camp. And obviously talking about the receiver position, how much better it has become with some of these guys, which is great. So you guys let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes, what up? Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.